If you follow the channel, you know that I love HP instruments and computers and calculators, and this magnificent HP 9825 desktop calculator is no exception. Actually, it's way more than a calculator. It's a 16-bit automation controller that was far ahead of its time. But in this episode, we are mostly going to talk about a chip from another company that shaped the industry, the electronic industry in the 1970s up to today, Texas Instruments. And the reason is that one of their undocumented chip, and one that was very important because it revolutionized the history of watchmaking, is causing me trouble and is hidden in my HP. Because somewhere in here, I have a Texas Instrument LED watch chip that's misbehaving. Let's backtrack a bit. In the 1970s, TI is famous for having introduced LED watches. Now, they were not the first ones, but such watches had been expensive rarities until then. That's when TI developed a chip so cost-effective that they started selling watches for less than $20. This completely upended the world of watchmaking, and soon digital watches overtook the market. Now you might ask, what's a watch chip, and a secretive one at that, doing in my HP? Well, it has to do with the fact that the HP calculator, which you can see here in that picture, was mostly used as an instrument controller. It talks HPID natively, and you can see it's automating this very complex RF measurement. And no, of course, half the magic is the wonderful pants here, but the other half is in the HP 9825 automation controller. And these are all real-time applications, so very often you need a timestamp or a regular counter that generates interrupts at regular amount of time. And for that, HP was providing an option, which is this clock module. So this is both a real-time clock and also a timer counter and interrupt generator. So these modules are really great to have. Unfortunately, it's really hard to get one that works. And if you open it, you can see that it's made inside of two boards, and somewhere over here I have them already taken apart. So here are the two boards, and if you open them up carefully and you put them on there, you see all kind of stuff. Aside from the nano processor, which we'll talk about in another episode most probably, the clock chip from TI is right here. This is used to keep the time when the computer is not powered on. So it's powered by this battery here, which is low voltage because it comes from a watch. So watch was 2.5 volts. So this is 2.5 volts. And what happens is that this battery, of course, goes bad with time. And when people plug in their module, it gets charged, but it's since it's bad, it doesn't regulate the voltage anymore, and it gets to the voltage of the charger, which is 5 volts, which zaps the clock chip. So I suspected my clock chip was bad, and I went to look for one, and it was really hard to find. The only place where I found, surprisingly, a whole bunch of them kind of new. And remember, this is a chip that is in no catalog, it has no data sheet. It was only made for HP, who asked Texas Instruments to repackage their regular watch chip. So this came from an Asian vendor. I can't remember if it's Hong Kong or China. And I replaced the clock chip, not in this particular one, but in another one. And my module still didn't work, which led me to really question whether this was a legit chip or not. So to know for sure, in a previous episode, we cracked open an original and a Chinese sourced chip using Antoine's famous hot gun technique. Okay, cracky.
Oh, here's the die. Okay.
I was pretty confident we were going to find a completely unrelated chip. But to my surprise, not at all. The original and the Chinese chips were identical. So dang, my replacement chips appear to be the real ones, so why doesn't it still work? So I wanted to dig more into it, and since the chips looks to be real, see if I can actually make it work like it was originally meant to be. And there's really very little documentation on the chip. Texas kept it pretty close to its vest, but the schematics from the HP board gives you a hint. It's very simple. Apparently you just need a 32 kilohertz quartz here, and here you can sort of make out SA, SB, SE, SE, SF, SG. Those are 7-digit segments. And you guys are probably familiar with 7-segment LEDs, but it's so much fun to light one up. So you have one common pin, in this case it's the positive, it's the anode, and then you have actually 8 pins. You have 7 of the segments, that's the middle one. They are called A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Decimal point, there you go. Never gets old. So when they read it, it goes later on to the bus of the microprocessor. So they just read the segment to find out what the store time was in the chip. D1, D2, D3, I suppose, are multiplex signal to choose one of the 4 digits. Then you have these, which are also going to the computer bus over here. But in the other direction. I think these are the buttons that were on the watch. So what that does is basically the processor flips the button for you to set the date and the hour, and it reads the time by reading the 7 segments and interprets it. So my guess is that if I put a quartz over here, 2.5 volt over here, and I put buttons on here, I should be able to tell if my clock chip's working. So that's exactly what I've done here. I took one of the Chinese source chips. Well, we don't know if they work, but the chip inside is the right one. I stole a 32 kilohertz quartz from the original cards, and the first thing I did is just build this very simple circuit with a quartz and a cap to see if I got some oscillation, and power it with 2.5 volts. And after a bit of experimentation, because I didn't wire it right the first time, here's 2.5 volts, and guess what? I do have oscillation, and it's 32.7 whatever 79 kilohertz, which is what you should have in watches. So that's pretty encouraging. The next experiment I did is that this scope has 16 digital inputs. So I monitored 3 of the digit lines and all the segment lines. And my oscillation comes up, and absolutely nothing comes up at the output, but which is kind of expected. The watch is not lit unless you press the read button, and then it should lit up for 1 second. So let's press the read button, and woo, all kind of things happen just for the 1 second. So that's looking pretty good. So I slow down a little bit, so we don't need that anymore. We know it's oscillating. So you can see it's counting down here, D1, D2, D3, and then all the lines work except D8, which is the decimal point. Then the first thing I noticed is that I was expecting this thing to be a kind of sort of binary counter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But it's not. It's just 1, 2, 3, which I suppose this is tied to each digit, but in this case I would only have 3 digits. What you do usually is that you light one after another really quickly, so they are pulsed, but the eye doesn't see it. So you don't need to have all the controls at the same time, and then you turn them on one at a time. This technique is called digit multiplexing and saves a lot of hardware. I tried to catch it in this other vintage HP real-time clock with my iPhone slow-mo camera, but the camera is still not fast enough. Nevertheless, you can see that the digits are flickering because they are never all lit together, but instead are lit in sequence using a pulse drive on the common anode or cathode of each digit. So I was expecting 4 pulses for the 4 watch digits, but I only got 3. And then if we blow this up, we should be able to read this, the data on the top, and to do that I'll bring on bus 2. So these values are actually the values of the LED segments over here in binary. Let's make them bigger. So we have 3 digits. The 2 first digits are the same, and the 3rd digit is different, and the 4th digit, for now, we don't know if it exists or not. So let's run it, and let's do this. Okay, let's do it again. So it comes with always the same thing, and I suppose it should change after a minute. Now, if you tap twice on the read button, I think it reads the date. Oh, I didn't do it. 1, 2. Yeah, and you see something happen. So I have a first reading, and then it changes to a second reading, so that works. And I think if you hold the button, you read seconds. And I just did it. So the 3rd digit is now 0, so that's blank. And you see it counting. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a working clock chip. Now, I was wondering, where is my 4th digit? So I was confused why I was only having 3 digits and not 4 until I realized that the 4th digit is not a full digit. In an American clock, it can only be a 1 or a 0, whether it's the time, because we only count to 12, and then we do AM and PM, or even the day, because it's a month's day format and the months never go past 12. So really the last digit has it's only one value. It has either blank or 1. So it's hidden somewhere in a hidden bit. So let's see if I do this button. Now I am in the setting mode. I'm going to press the read button, and that's going to advance, I'm not sure what. It's advancing right here. It's advancing the hours. This is minutes, tens of minutes, hours. And then it repeats. No, this one is the same as this one. So it's 1, 2, 3 digits. Okay, this one is easy. That's 1. It is the only one where there are only 2 bits set. So that's 1. Then I'm going to count from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 is also easy to figure out because it has all the segments lit except 1, and that's the decimal point. And of course I thought, my goodness, I bet you they have hidden the last bit in the decimal point. So watch, when I go to 9 and then 10, the decimal point is going to flash. So this is 9 and 10. So 10, you can also tell it's a 0, so it's all the segments except the middle one. And then now the decimal point has lit my 1, so the last digit is hidden in that one. And well, if we follow the theory, it's going to be 11, 12, and it's going to go back to 0. So now the next thing I was wondering, okay, now how do you know if it's AM or PM? And watch that digit over here. I bet you it's an A or a P, and that is probably an A. And I'm going to go through one sequence up to 12. and up, now it has changed, and I bet you this is a P. So we now understand enough to recreate a clock from the TI chip. It's very simple. All you need is plus 2.5 volts, 2 buttons, I still haven't figured out what the third one does, a quartz, a cap, then you tie the 3 first digits to their respective digit line, D1, D2, D3. The fourth one is also tied to D3, so that's the common. And then you tie all the segments to the first 3 digits, and the fourth digit you tie the decimal point to segment B and C, so it draws a 1. And that's all there is to it. So there is just a slight problem with it, is that the circuit is very low power and can only drive the very small LEDs like this old bubble LED, but they are also common cathode. The minus is common, and all I have is the modern stuff, and they are much larger. They'll require, I guess, too much current for the circuit to drive, and they are common anode. So off to eBay we go, and where we can find some of these LED bubble chips. Actually, those are made by HP. You know, HP was the leader in LEDs, which they developed for their measurement instruments. And people love them. They are not cheap at all, and this is the cheapest I could find. Coming from, they are all from Eastern Europe, so they are in the mail and showing up in a month from now. Hey, look what showed up. They finally found them in the remote hills of Transylvania. And those are beautiful bubble LEDs, everyone. Let's light them up. Oh, this is also subtle. I couldn't find pin 1. It turns out it just has a slightly different cut. There's a little tiny bit that's cut off, so this is pin 1. Couldn't find the actual pinout of the chip, but I think I found something that's similar. This is an 80s catalog. So let's try with 1 milliamp. Alright, nothing goes. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, decimal point. Okay, I got my pinout correct. So here it is, all beautifully wired, and I also realized that I needed to use 2 chips because the fourth digit I have to wire it differently, and all the segments are wired together in 1 chip, so I needed another chip to do it differently. And well, let's see if it works. 1, 2, 3, go. And nothing, but that's normal because there's no read. No, not working. Okay, so after a little bit of checking, I had put this chip upside down. Pin 1 is really hard to figure out. Let's try again. Nothing. This one's okay, but the one. Oh, ho, ho. Oh, I like this. Let's go bigger. Let's see if we can set it. The set button. AM! Oh, it's an A! Yes, I expected it correctly. So it's actually 10 p.m. Oh, no, it should be 10. Why did it do it? Okay, brain fart. I have my numbers completely upside down. Okay, I got my brain and the LED rewired. And no, hopefully I did it right. Yes, all right. So let's go to setting. 1 a.m. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I have one that's not showing properly. I think I missed segment B by 1. So this is this decimal point, and it goes to 2 segments. It goes to segment B and it goes to segment C. Try number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ha ha! 1, 2, and now we're in PM. Okay, 10 PM, it's now 10:17. So if I do the next button, yes, I have the minutes. Okay. Okay, 10:17 PM. And we are, that must be the months, 9/25. All right. And what's that? It's blinking. All right. No. Yes. Oh, it wants me to blink when it's exactly 17. I got it. And so now it's 10:17. And then if I press twice, it's going to do 9:25. If I press and keep pressed, it gives me the oops, you gotta read to keep pressed. It gives me the seconds. Well, friends, it's 1917 all over again. We have made a beautiful LED watch. What happens if you keep pressed? Yeah, if you keep pressed, it keeps giving you the date, but not the time. Time goes to second. All right. Well. My TI chip is for real, so it's something else that's broken in my HP. I'll have to figure that in the next episode. Thanks for watching.